This video is going to be focused on psychedelics. There arguably are safe ways to use other substances such as stimulants to boost your productivity, but by the very nature of their mechanism of action, these substances are way too easy to abuse and misuse. I am only interested in talking about substances with low abuse potential to begin with, such as anti-addictive psychedelic substances. And in case you are wondering, yes, cannabis is considered to be a psychedelic. Now, does cannabis have a low abuse potential? Well, we'll get to that later. Now, this video might offend some viewers. I feel it necessary to point out that I'm not judging anyone. In my own personal story, there was a time when I was abusing alcohol. Now, by many people's standards, I was not a traditional alcoholic. I wasn't drunk days on end. But my alcohol use was affecting my relationships with friends and even intimate relationships. In fact, I lost a great deal of friends, close friends at that, simply because I couldn't control the person who I turned into while I was intoxicated. I get asked the question, how much is too much psychedelic use? A lot. People want to know how often they can trip before it becomes detrimental to their health. Well, unfortunately, the answer to this question isn't as simple as you may think. Ask yourself, are you using psychedelics purely for recreation? Or are you using them as tools to learn from and to grow? What types of people are you with when you trip? Do they use psychedelics for productive purposes, or are they just using them to escape everyday reality? Pay close attention to the type of people that you surround yourself with. Often our friends are a good reflection of ourselves. Is your substance use interfering with your goals in life? Do you have goals in life? Or do you just get excited to get fucked up? Is your substance use affecting your relationships, your friendships, your relationship with your family perhaps? Are there people in your life who are legitimately worried about you? Is their worry granted, or do they simply not understand? How often are you using? Is it a weekly thing, a monthly thing, a few times a year kind of thing? Are you giving yourself enough time in between experiences to properly integrate what you've learned? Or are your last few trips just blurred together and you can't even really remember 3 trips ago just because you're tripping way too much? And finally, can you live without your drug of choice? It's a telltale sign of addiction if you can't live without a substance. And if you truly believe that you need to get high all the time in order to have fun, or that your life would be miserable without having the ability to trip, then your use is not healthy. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, or I hate to be so blunt in telling you this, but psychedelics are used to enhance your experience here. They're not used to define your experience. Psychedelics are tools to help us explore and to relearn what we probably already know deep down. Perhaps what a lot of us have forgotten. There's several paths to reach the same destination. It's absolutely not necessary to take psychedelics to gain a greater understanding of the self or of consciousness. Psychedelics are like a life hack. They can be a shortcut to learn what otherwise would have taken a very long time by means of meditation or self-exploration. And as a shortcut, this means that people often don't value their discoveries as intently. It's the exact same as having everything handed to you in life. If your parents bought for you your first car, then you don't value it half as much as if you had to work part-time at McDonald's or Tim Hortons. The more shit you had to go through to get the car, well, the car becomes the physical embodiment of all that hard work and shitty toilets that you had to clean. I'm not saying that the states psychedelics can show you are less valuable than when they're reached through natural means. What I am saying is that people are less likely to value them to the same degree as if they had to put the work in to get there themselves. This means that people are far less likely to integrate their experiences correctly. So what does healthy psychedelic use actually look like? Well, it would look like someone who uses psychedelics as a means to explore and enhance their everyday reality versus as a vehicle to escape everyday reality. Such a person would not be tripping their face off every week. Such a person would not be smoking weed every night to cope with their life. Such a person would have interests outside of psychedelics. Such a person would have hobbies. Such a person would be stable in their relationships. Healthy psychedelic use is productive in the sense that it adds value to your everyday life without retracting from it. Productive use is when you are using these substances to become a more compassionate, loving, empathetic human being. If you currently are abusing substances, I understand that it's more difficult to stop than to just recognize that you have a problem, but the first step to healing is always recognizing that you have a wound that needs to heal. Unfortunately, in the Western world, we go about healing all the wrong way. We try to put a Band-Aid over top of a wound and we try to forget about it and think that it'll just magically heal on its own. We take drugs that just numb the problem without ever actually getting to the core of the problem. We don't realize that what true healing looks like is that you have to get worse before you get better. Ancient tribal civilizations knew this. They knew that in order to heal, you had to face your fears. You had to face those demons deep down that were causing you so much anguish and grief. You had to challenge yourself in order to get out of a negative cycle. And what that looks like to an onlooker is somebody who's appearing to get worse. If you are really to undergo true healing, you will appear to become more unhealthy before you become healthy. Why is this? Because a lot of people actually are unhealthy. A lot of people have this facade that they're wearing all the time. This, I'm okay with everything. This is okay. Everything's okay. When really they're burning alive and they're pretending that they're okay when shit has really hit the fan. So in order for them to heal, they have to shed their facade. They have to start recognizing who they really are underneath and what they've really been doing to themselves. And this is not pretty to look at. It can be quite ugly. A lot of people who abuse weed or who are taking psychedelics as a means of recreation and not growth, they're really not happy deep down. A lot of them just can't cope with their lives. A lot of them are running. They're using psychedelics to escape everyday reality. They're running from their lives and they're running from their thoughts. If this sounds like you, then on my second channel, I recently put out a video called Controlling Thoughts. I would highly recommend that you check out that video. And also, healthy use is being responsible with your doses. You don't necessarily have to take a heroic, monstrous dose in order to have a life-changing experience. And always research everything before you intend to take it. And I mean do some serious research. Don't just watch one of my videos and think that you understand drugs. My videos are like experiencing the shallow end of the pool. Before you can jump into the deep end, which would be taking the drug, you need to fully understand just how deep you need to go to touch the bottom. To do this, you need to read as much as you can. You need to be reading Arrowhead reports. You need to be reading good experiences, bad experiences, train wrecks, health problems. You need to fully understand what you are getting yourself into. And just watching my videos really is not enough. You especially need to focus on research if you're going to be mixing substances. Don't just go off what one of your friends told you. Do your own research. Certain drugs, when mixed together, can be fatal. Certain substances, when mixed with antidepressants, can also be fatal. We live in a day and age where information is quite literally at our fingertips. It doesn't matter where we are, we can do a Google search. It's no longer an excuse to say that you didn't know something, especially when it comes to your own health and well-being. Never take risks with your health. Your health is really all you have, and your health is never worth compromising just to have a drug experience. There really are far better things in life. These drugs, again, are meant to enhance our everyday reality. They are not meant to be the focus of our reality. Luckily, psychedelics are the most difficult substances to abuse. If you were to take, say, psilocybin mushrooms or LSD 3 days in a row, by that third day it would have virtually no effect on you, unless you greatly increased the dosage you were taking. Our brains build an immediate tolerance to these substances. In the same regard, they actually are anti-addictive. There are many people who owe their recovery from being addicted to harder drugs like heroin, crack, methamphetamine, alcohol, even cigarettes, which one of the leading causes of death, pain pills. A lot of people owe their recovery to a psychedelic experience. There's not many other substances that exist in this planet. Actually, I don't think there are any other substances that have the unique ability to cause a human being to absolutely obliterate their addiction from just what sometimes is one experience alone. The most fascinating part is, a lot of the times when people do get over a serious drug addiction via psychedelics, they didn't enter that experience intending to cure their drug addiction. I know for me, psychedelics caused me to quit smoking cigarettes. They also greatly influenced me to get out of my alcohol addiction. And I never went into any of those experiences with the intent in mind that I was going to quit cigarettes. It was just this really strange, but granted needed and probably the best side effect or effect from the experience that I could have dreamed of having. That all being said, it's possible to abuse anything. I mean, look at food. Food is necessary for our survival, yet how many people are currently alive who are eating themselves to death? I believe psychedelics have the potential to change our world. What other substance can inject a human with such a profound experience that they instantly turn their whole life around? Nothing else exists with this potential. That is why I believe it is our responsibility to be the best demonstration of responsible use that we can be. If you want to see change in this world, I know it's cliche, but if you want to see change, you have to be the change that you want to see. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Massive thank you to everyone supporting us on Patreon right now. If you want to check that out, then please visit patreon.com to do so. Huge shout out to everyone in this annotation right here. You guys are seriously making these videos happen. If you haven't already, then please subscribe to our channel for weekly psychedelic videos. And if you enjoyed this video, then leave a like. Take care, guys.